Well, everybody says it's easy, so I thought I'd make a short video. Gonna change the front axle seal. I really don't know if it's leaking or not because it's never been full. So it may not have anything to leak there, I don't know. Anyway, took off the tie rod end there and just taking out the hub bolts. After taking off the tire, there's an O-ring behind that, and apparently there's a C-clip down at the bottom inside there on a gear. So let's see how that goes. Well, after I pulled off the circle clip, there's nothing holding that on. So silly me, thing dropped, and I had my drain pan full of oil underneath there. And I have a mess to clean up. Oh well, I'll scoop this up quickly. I got most of it in the rag and in the bucket there. I'll scrape up this little bit and throw it in my compost pile and it'll be fine. But yeah, have something underneath that, or at least move your oil pan so you're not going to spray yourself with oil. You know, sort of like that. Minor. Unless you got a tool to get that seal out, or tools, and you're very persistent, that is really wedged in there. I've never had a seal jammed in so hard. No pinion seal, no any other seal I've ever done. So that's a tight fit. So be forewarned. There seems to be a lot of dirt in mine, but I've got over 3,200 hours on my tractor. And I just sprayed that with some brake clean, blew it out with some compressed air. Bearings look perfect otherwise. And if you're not aware of it, the new seal is two-piece. So that bottom piece goes in here, which you just took out, and that top piece is still on the strut, or whatever you want to call that thing. So I've got to take that off and install this one. I looked at it, I thought I could just leave the old one on, why not? But then again, we don't know where it's leaking, so I'll put the new one in. But I didn't mess up the old seal too badly getting it out, but she finally popped. Okay, this might be a mistake, but I saw somebody else suggest you use the old collar to put in the new seal to tap it into place, or press it into place or whatever. But I'm thinking if you do a good enough job, I'd rather have the new seal on there. There's no reason you should bend that. This is a quality seal. In fact, I actually bought this from eBay and got shipped from China for a quarter of the price that Kubota wanted for it, and it looks identical. It feels identical. It feels really good. Okay, so a 2-inch coupler actually is a good size, and a little mallet or something to tap that in should work perfectly. Spread the load and drive it straight. It'll also be required when take this top piece out, and I need to drive it up on the spindle there. It'll be needed for that. Hopefully it's the right size on the inside here. Somebody said it was. I'll find out. I probably can't emphasize enough how important it is to clean up in here before you put the new seal sleeve on there. Water gets in there and that rusts. In fact, I'm tempted to put a layer of sealant in there. Whoops, I moved the camera. There we go. You can't get that too clean. So yeah, scrub this up, and I think I'm going to put some sealant in the top to try and keep the moisture out, because as we look at the top of the seal here, you can see how it's collected a bunch of dirt and stuff. I mean, it's rubberized, so it should be fine as long as you get it seated properly, but there's always a gap, isn't there? I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just put it on. It's a high quality seal, so, and it's worked for 3,200 hours, so why argue, eh? I'll lube it up, slide it up, and see what happens. I don't know. So it's in place now. It's up snug. I used a jack to push it up because it just Maybe I'm old, but I don't have the strength to hold that and pull it up and everything else. The jack helps, and now I got to try and get that C-clip in there, and the jack will hold it in place. I might suggest that 3,200 hours on oil for the front axle is probably a little dirty and probably due. It almost looks like it's got some mud in there too, actually. Or almost like it's got water dripping. But anyway, we'll let that drip and see what happens. So this is a suggestion which worked for me this time. After you break the tie rod off, put the nut back on, and then when this drops, it catches it for you. But always prepare for a lot of oil drainage. I see a lot of people complaining that they fill up the axle through the axle fill hole, and then they check it a couple days later and it's low, and they check it again, they add some, and then they check it again. So what I'm going to do to see if I can bypass that problem is I'm adding oil directly to the vent holes on each side so the spindles fill up first, and then I'll top it up in the axle itself. Some people seem to think that it's going to take a long time for the oil to work its way from the axle down into the spindles. And I'm going like, I can't be bothered with that nonsense. So this is what I'm using, and I just stick it in there and I squeeze the bottle. It's a 1 liter bottle, I think. No, 1 US quart. So I'm going to put a quart in each side to start off with, and I don't know, I was looking up to try and find out how much oil this is supposed to take, and I don't really know. So anyway, I'll do a liter in each side, see what's in the main axle, and probably add a liter there and drive it for a few days and check it again.